Okay, so I'm just going to talk about your basic chart setup. Most Western astrologers will use this wheel, this circle. For this example, I'm going to use Edgar Cayce's chart. I just did a copy paste here. You can't really see his birth information or any of the options over here. We're not going to evaluate his chart. I'm just talking about the layout. So that stuff doesn't really matter. So in basic Western astrology, you have this wheel and you have the ascendant, descendant, and your midheaven and your IC down here. We know that the ascendant is this way and the sun rises in the east. So the funny thing about looking at this chart is sometimes beginners get confused. The planets move in this direction around the wheel, but that's throughout the year. During the day, the outer wheel, the zodiac signs, these will move in this direction. So the sun is actually moving this way, but throughout the day, the diurnal motion, this circle moves this way. So they're going backwards, basically. But the way the chart works is that you're looking to the east this way, and the sun rises here, and the ecliptic, the zodiac, moves this way around the wheel. Midheaven is here. The descendant, or sunset, the beginning of evening, nighttime, is over here. And if the sun is over here, we're at midnight. So I just want to take a look at a map. So when we're looking at the wheel, you're looking south. So wherever you were born on the earth, this is east, this is west, and it doesn't matter if you're in the northern or southern hemisphere. Your midheaven, if you're on the land and you look to the east and you look to the west, you're facing south. Behind you is north. And that's how the chart is laid out, and that's what I'm going to show you here. That's what I'm going to explain today. So this is a flat earth projection. It doesn't matter if you think the earth is flat or not. This is this, and I'm going to explain that. So I want to give credit to the map maker. The map credit goes to Daniel R. Strebe. This is found on Wikipedia, August 15th, 2011, and on Wikipedia he puts a license that you can share it, remix it, adapt it, and I'm not changing the map. I'm just going to show you how this is projected onto this. But I have to give credit to Daniel for his great work, and it looks like a pretty accurate map, which I'm going to explain to you later. But so there's the license, and thank you, Daniel. So this projection of in cartography, there are different projections that you can create to get a different view of the world. This one is called the Azimuthal Equidistant Projection. And you're looking at the top, and you're looking at everything down below. Yes, this is a flat Earth map. Whether you believe the Earth is flat or not doesn't matter, and that's what I'm going to explain here. Edgar Cayce was born at 3:20 p.m. Hopkinsville, Kentucky, USA. So if this is sunrise and this is sunset, this is noon, midday, so 3 o'clock is over here. So I just want to get a quick visual. So look at basically where the planets are like Moon is up here, Mars is over here, Uranus is over here just close to the ascendant. The sun is kind of over here. So I'm going to show you how this is a projection on the Earth. So you have the Earth, and I'm going to rotate it because he was born in Kentucky. So I'm going to rotate the map this way so that that's straight up ahead. Okay, so here we go. So you can see the United States here. Kentucky is approximately here, and I'm using the symbols and colors from astro.com, from their astro travel section of the website. I'm just keeping it consistent with what they use because it's a free service. I know a lot of people use them, and I think it works really well. So anyway, on the map here, you'll see this red cross for his birth location, and that's what they use there. I've turned the map itself this way so that your midheaven and where he was born is straight up and down. In Illustrator, I'll show you, this is a straight up and down line, and you'll see it's approximately straight up and down, visually. So if you look at his sun, if you remember, his sun was over here, because we're looking at 3:20 p.m. So this is noon. This is going to be around 6 o'clock. So 3:20 is around here. You remember his Mars was on this part of the, when you looked at the circle, his Mars was over here, his moon was up here, and his Uranus was over here close to the ascendant, just to get a quick visual. So we're aligning the map of the Earth looking from top down on, and we're projecting it onto, we're overlapping them. So here's just a blank chart. I took off all of his planets and all of the zodiac glyphs, but basically you're looking at east over here where the ascendant is, you're looking south, and that's your midheaven. Everything behind you is on the other side of the world, and that's the north direction. And then, over here you have the western horizon. So the sun rises in the east, and when you look at your natal chart, you're looking at, this is the east direction, the sun rises in the east. Noon, midday, the sun is going to be directly overhead. It depends on what time of the year, but we're just talking in basics here. So midday, your sun's going to be overhead, and you're looking in the direction of south. It sets in the west, and everything, when you're looking south, everything behind you is north. So everything on the other side of the world, everything on the other side of the wheel that is not overhead or visible is north. And so we have this cycle here. I have the two overlaid again. Here's Edgar Cayce's chart is behind the map, and I've lightened the map a little bit so that you can see through it, and you can see, as you remember, his sun is over here. He was born at 3:20, so this is his birth location. This is your midheaven. This is your ascendant, or the eastern direction. From here, this is east. From here, this is west. And technically, this is north, but if you keep going, all the way over here is north also from this point. So here's the North Pole, but also if you keep moving in the north direction, you're going over here. So what I did was, on Cayce's chart, you'll see the sun here, Venus, Saturn, and I put all the planets close-ish to where they are on his chart. The moon is here, your ascendant is here, Uranus is just above the ascendant over here. So over here I specifically put Jupiter and Mars in the position on the map the way they are on the chart, and I'm going to use that positioning in the next part that I show you, because on the map the equator is this red line here, and the planets don't go as far south as like Antarctica. So even though the chart has them placed here, where they are actually on the Earth, like directly overhead, isn't going to be here. But I'm going to explain that. So this is the basic chart that I'm using. I give map credit. This is my birth location, and I'm going to fill in this legend over here as we continue. In this view, I've taken away the natal chart, and I just have the planets that I already placed on the map in the locations that they were on the chart. I've removed the chart, so you remember the sun, here's his birth location, this is looking south, this is north, your ascendant's over here, this is east from his location, this is west from his location. So the sun was over here, the moon was close to the midheaven, Uranus was over here close to, you know, the eastern ascendant over here. So here I've actually moved, remember Mars was here and Jupiter was here, but none of the planets actually go as far out as, you know, Antarctica here. So what we have here is this red line is the equator, and then the yellow line represents the tropics. So you have the equator here going around the Earth, and then you have the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. So yes, some of the planets do go outside of the tropics on either side, and that's what we call in astrology as being out of bounds. So Mars is out of bounds if it's here, or the moon, you know, the moon will go out of bounds if it's maybe outside of, you know, one of the tropics. The tropics is based on the sun, and the sun's path and position doesn't ever change. But when we're looking at the map here, the chart underneath, we'll put the planets, you know, you can get various different styles of charts, but I'm putting them on the map to show you, you know, how this works. And so they need to be within, you know, what we call the ecliptic, which is based on the sun. Anyway, so I moved Mars from here up and Jupiter from here up. I've turned the his chart back on. You can see it behind the map here, and you know, it puts the glyph out here, but they need to be within the tropics, so they're just moved up here. Now I want to introduce this orange line I have over here as the ecliptic. So I want to talk a little bit about understanding the ecliptic. So the amazing thing about this image, I really liked it because he puts the dates of when he took these photos, and you can see, it's pixelated, you can see, but this is December 21st, January 4th, January 13th, January 24th, all the way up to summer solstice on June 21st, and then it starts to come back down. On a lot of old maps or a globe, they actually mark the Analemma, and they'll show you how it works. It's the path of the sun, so I'll just read this. Analemma showing the sun's declination for every day in the year, also the equation of time. So this shows you where the sun's going to be on any day of the year, and even it shows you clock ahead of sun in minutes and clock behind sun in minutes. So this is marked 5, 10, 15, 20. So we can be really precise with understanding what time of day and time of year the sun is. And you know, we've known this for a long time. One other thing I want to show you on this particular image is that you'll see a Sagittarius little arrow right here, and in November, at the end of November, the Sagittarius begins, and Sagittarius goes from the end of November to the end of December, where the Tropic of Capricorn is the very furthest south that the sun reaches, and that begins Capricorn right here, and then as the sun moves back up, you're in Capricorn, and then you're in Aquarius, and so on. So this analemma, this movement of the sun, as well as the zodiac signs, has been known for a long time. This is an old ancient map, and you'll see the same thing. This line that goes through the center of this map is the equator, and you will see this arc up and down. So here you have the Tropic of Cancer, and the arc comes up to solstice, and then it crosses the equator, or the equinox time of year, and then it comes back down until it hits Capricorn, and this arc is the Tropic of Capricorn. So we've known this for a long time, and I know it's pixelated, but right here you have the sign of Aries, because as soon as the sun crosses over the equator, we have the spring equinox, then the sun is in the sign or season or time of Aries. And then right here you actually see the sign of Taurus. And then here it's pixelated and it's small, but this is actually Gemini. So you have these glyphs along this ecliptic that tell you what sign the sun is in as the sun goes around the Earth on its yearly motion. So if we go back to our basic circle wheel chart, you have the east here, remember, you have the west here, your ascendant, your midheaven is up here, which is the direction of south. Everything north is going to be on the other side. The red line is your equator, and you have the Tropic of Cancer is the smaller circle on the projection of the map that we're using, the Azimuthal Equidistant Projection of the Earth. And your Tropic of Capricorn is the larger, it's the outer circle. Okay. So, again, for reference, the red line is the equator. We have the Tropic of Cancer is the smaller circle. Tropic of Capricorn is the outer, larger yellow circle. And I'm using orange here to represent the ecliptic. So this is the path of the sun. So I put an orange path over this photograph, thank you Giuseppe, and the sun makes this in one location. He was in Italy, so this is the path that you'll see in the sky over the course of a year in one location. But what about the entire Earth? Well, as the sun goes around the Earth, the sun makes this trip from Cancer to Capricorn, Cancer to Capricorn. Well, what does that look like in the chart, in the Azimuthal Equidistant map of the Earth? I might be a little bit off, it might not be perfectly, the way that I've created this circle here, but, this is close. We know that the ecliptic of the sun is an ellipse, and that's where the word comes from. And so you have the equator and these tropics that are like beautiful, perfect circles, but the path of the sun, because it's going in and out and in and out, well, throughout 1 year, it'll go in and out. Its path is not a perfect circle, it's an ellipse. And so as the path goes around the Earth, remember there's an Earth underneath, underneath my circles here. During the time of a full year, the sun will be from Capricorn, and it will make this circle throughout the year all the way up to this smaller. So it's going from the outer, larger circle, it's going inward to the smaller circle at the Tropic of Cancer, and then it comes back out and it creates a larger arc down to the larger circle. So here's just the same thing, it's just with a different visual. I have this map, so this traces the Analemma, and we have the year. So the sun starts out, well, wherever you want to start. I guess we could start at January, right? So you have Capricorn here, and the sun comes up and it makes this path, and then it comes down. The way it looks on the Earth, instead of being in one location, which is the Analemma, when you look at the entire Earth, you're going to have this elliptic orange circle that goes around the Earth, and it comes up from Capricorn, it crosses the equator, and it goes up to Cancer, and then it crosses the equator at the autumnal equinox. In the northern hemisphere, it would be the spring equinox in the southern hemisphere for you guys, and then it comes back to Capricorn. So again, my orange circle might not be exactly perfect. I'm looking at it right now, and this is a little wider than that arc there, but basically that's what we're looking at here. So going back to my map here, I took all the planet glyphs off just so that it's really simple to look at this. So we're looking at Edgar Cayce's chart. He was born around here. You know, this is south direction from where he is. So if he took a photo of the Analemma, the sun would be, you know, it would look kind of like this. I mean, I don't know exactly, but, you know, the sun, now some of the planets will go what's called out of bounds, so they will come up here or they will go down there, but the sun never does. The sun is constant. So the sun will never cross Cancer or Capricorn here. So if he took a picture of the Analemma, it would be, you know, something like this. And you have the tropics, the equator, and the ecliptic, and the birth location. But when the sun goes around the Earth, looking from this location, it's going to have an ecliptic path. It's going to look like an ellipse. It's going to be an off-center circle. So here we just have an image from Google. I just typed in Analemma photos from around the world. So you'll see this figure 8 Analemma at different angles. You know, this image right here looks pretty straight up and down. This one is really skewed to the side. So is this one. This is in Antarctica, and as you'll see, because they're in the southern hemisphere, at the furthest reaches of, you know, where the sun's light will go, you actually have the wider part of the Analemma up top, whereas up in the northern hemisphere, we have the smaller part of the Analemma up top in this figure 8. Because, you know, Cancer is the smaller circle, and Capricorn is the wider circle. So looking at the Analemma from the southern hemisphere, you're getting the opposite direction, the flipped direction of the Analemma. So you have the wider part higher in your view, and the smaller part is going to be lower in your view. And here's just Wikipedia's Analemma. This is the same thing I showed you in my illustration. You have the equator is going to be in the center, your Tropic of Cancer is here, your Tropic of Capricorn is here. This is approximately what Edgar Cayce's chart would look like with the ecliptic added into his map here. So here's America, here's his birthplace, we're looking south, that's east, that's west. His sun, remember, was about over here. He was born on March 18th, so that's right at the very end of Pisces. That's right before the spring equinox, when the sun moves into Aries. So I put his sun just below the red line of the equator here, and as it crosses over, then you'd be into Aries. So he's somewhere around here, and your tropics are here. So you're looking at this ellipse circle. It's kind of a peach shape, actually, and I made it a peach shape instead of smoothing out these curves because in the Analemma you have such a tight circle at the top. When you open up that circle, I think it would look like this. It comes up, it makes a really tight circle at Cancer, and then it comes down pretty quickly. And then you have the same, it's wider at Capricorn. Here's the same image, I just have his planets included. So again, I moved the planets to be within the tropics, and I've placed them on the ecliptic path, because that's how we do astrology. All the planets are, if they're not exactly on the ecliptic plane, like sometimes they'll be out of bounds, we use their projected position. Most systems, there are some systems that differ, but we project their location onto the ecliptic path in order to get our calculations, in order to get the chart that we look at.